I reached for the hem of my dress and pulled it over my head in one smooth motion. No words, just silence, breath, and 3 pairs of eyes burning into me like I was something new. I didn't rush, didn't smile. I let the quiet do the work, heavy as smoke. Then I stepped toward Nick, slow, deliberate, each step stretching the moment tight. When I reached him, I leaned in and kissed him slow, sure like I knew none of them could stop me. Before we dive in, take a second to hit like and subscribe. It keeps these stories coming. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. Nick's hands locked onto my hips, moving with a focus that drowned out the world. My cheek pressed into the pillow in our fading Chicago walk-up breath, ragged as he kept a rhythm not gentle but sharp, relentless, like he couldn't stop if he tried. I moved with him, instinct taking over, fingers curling tight into the sheets, heat rising fast. Each motion built a cry, slipping out sharper than I meant. He didn't slow. His hands shifted, pulling me up to my knees, one arm sliding around my waist, anchoring me. I reached back, needing contact, and he answered with a low, rough sound hitting deep in my chest. His rhythm eased, then pressed again, slower now, controlled his breath, hot and urgent. My chest met his back at the impact, both of us trembling, skin flushed, nerves raw. We stayed like that, close, silent, neither moving much. Then he sank beside me on the bed. I was still gasping when he spoke. This might have been a mistake. I turned, lips brushing the pillow. You regretting it? He gave a quiet laugh. Not sure, but I think Tom or Luke might know something. I glanced back. Why, they're acting strange. Luke asked if I was avoiding him. Tom keeps staring like he's already figured it out. I rolled over, letting the sheet slide to my waist. So they suspect. He hesitated. You're not worried? I stretched, still humming from it all. No, I said, smiling. Doesn't this make it more fun? 3 sharp knocks at the door jolted me. It was early coffee, not even brewed, a soft tea, and sleep still in my eyes. I cracked the door. Tom stood there, Nick's friend, his face calm but eyes steady like he knew too much. Morning, he said. I opened the door wider, keeping my face blank. Didn't expect you. He stepped in without waiting, eyes scanning the room like he was looking for evidence. He didn't sit, just turned to face me. Think it's time we talked. I crossed my arms. About you and Nick. I didn't answer. He stepped closer. You think I didn't notice the way he looks at you, the way he stumbles out of here like he hasn't slept in days? I didn't flinch. Maybe he hasn't. Tom stared a beat too long. I'm not judging, but don't insult me by pretending nothing's happening. Never said it was. He looked again, slower. You really don't care how this looks? I stepped in close enough for him to feel the air shift. I care, I said, just not the way you expect. His eyes dropped, lingering on the tea that hid little, and I didn't bother fixing it. I let the silence work. Then I took his hand, held it just above my thigh, close but not touching. I know you've been watching, I said. No need to pretend. His fingers twitched. Could have come by sooner, he murmured. Why not today? He leaned in close enough for the heat to spark between us. Tell me, Tom, you here to stop this? I brushed my cheek against his. Or you just tired of being left out? Then he kissed me, slow, certain, no pulling back. Tom didn't speak after the kiss. His eyes flicked down, then up, something shifting in him. His hand slid to my waist, the other to the back of my neck, pulling me in again, deeper, no hesitation. He moved with purpose, pushing me toward the couch. I didn't resist as he tugged my shirt higher. I raised my arms, his hands grazing bare skin as the fabric fell. He leaned in like he'd been waiting for this, easing me onto the cushions. I climbed onto his lap, slow, confident, his breath catching as I moved against him, steady, bold. He rocked once enough to tense beneath me. "Still think this is a bad idea," he whispered. I didn't answer, just moved slower, deliberate. His hands responded firm on my hips, holding me as we synced. He didn't rush, let it build, each shift pushing him closer to the edge. I leaned in, lips at his ear, then paused, teasing, as his hands roamed my back, careful, exploring. The air thickened, the pull between us tightening. I pressed harder, and his breath came heavy, head tipping back, chest heaving. When I felt him waver, I slid off, grabbed my shirt from the floor, slipped it on like nothing happened. He sat there gasping, lost, unsure what came next. "Come for dinner tonight," I said, calm. He blinked. "Dinner?" I glanced over my shoulder. "You, Nick, and Luke." His face shifted, a mix of shock and something else. I poured a glass of water, took a sip. "I'll handle the cooking. Just show up hungry." He stood, dazed. Lips parted, then turned and left without a word. The knock came just after 6, one hard rap, two softer, like someone couldn't decide between bold and polite. Tom was back, leading the pack, calm as ever. Nick stood behind, avoiding my eyes. Luke lingered, shifting foot to foot like he could still run. I smiled as they stepped inside, each quieter than the last, each less certain. I wore something light, short, sleeveless, catching the dim light of our Chicago loft as I moved. No apologies, just dinner on the stove, wine poured, table set. Music played, low lights, softer than usual. I played the perfect host, hugging each one like I hadn't brushed past Tom's cheek that morning. I sat between Tom and Nick, Luke across his eyes, flicking to my bare shoulders, trying not to stare. Under the table, my foot grazed Tom's leg. He didn't react. I pressed again, slower. His hand twitched. I asked Nick about his week, brushing his arm as he answered, then turned to Luke, asking if he was still seeing that girl from last summer. He stammered, shook his head. I nodded like it was nothing, but my fingers drifted along Tom's thigh, inch by inch. The table felt smaller, my voice lower, my smile lingering. I refilled their glasses without asking. Nick kept glancing at my legs. Luke squirmed. Tom stayed still, but I felt his breath shift. When dinner was done, I stood to clear the plates. "Don't move," I said softly. "I'll be right back." I returned slower, plates forgotten in the kitchen. All three sat there, silent, alert, watching me like they weren't sure if this was still dinner or something else entirely. I stopped at the table, held Tom's gaze, then Nick's, then Luke's. I reached for my dress, pulled it over my head, one clean motion. No words, just silence, breath, and their eyes locked on me. Nick's widened, Luke forgot to breathe. Tom's jaw clenched, fists tight on his thighs. I stepped toward Nick, slow, each step pulling the air tighter. I kissed him slow, claiming his hands, finding my hips as I settled into his lap, his breath warm against my neck. I loosened his clothes just enough, the soft rustle of fabric filling the quiet. His fingers dug into my waist-head, tipping back, breath ragged. I moved with him, steady, focused, each shift building. His lips grazed my shoulder, chest rising fast. "Don't hold back," I whispered. "Let go." He surrendered, hands sliding along my hips, pulling me closer with each move. The couch creaked beneath us, our rhythm tight, urgent. I felt him close, legs tensing, breath breaking, but I didn't slow. I turned my head. "Tom," I said, low, clear. He'd been watching, still, dressed, jaw tight. I reached for him. He stepped forward. I undid his belt, slow, sliding the fabric free, eyes locked on his. He stepped out, controlled, but the tension in his face betrayed him. Still moving with Nick, I leaned forward, pulled Tom closer. His hand grazed the back of my head as I kissed him, lightly teasing. One hand steadied on Nick's chest, the other on Tom's hip. The room was all breath and motion, thick with rising heat. I shifted, whispered closer, then glanced at Luke, still frozen dressed, perched on the chair's edge. I slid off Nick, heat still pulsing through me, and crossed to Luke. He didn't move until I kissed him, soft, coaxing. He exhaled, finally giving in. I pulled his shirt off, watched his chest rise in uneven waves, then knelt, undoing his pants carefully. I took his hand, led him to sit. I knelt before him, breath-steady lips brushing his hip, teasing further. His body shook, hands gripping the sides, legs tensing. I kept one hand on his thigh, the other steadying behind me. Tom moved in behind me, quiet, deliberate, hands on my waist, then closer, his body pressing lightly against mine. I gasped softly into Luke, adjusting to the new rhythm. Tom anchored me, each move slow, measured. I matched it with Luke, the moment wrapping around us three. After a beat, I pulled back, turned. Luke sat, eyes wide, gasping. I climbed onto his lap, sinking down slow, settling fully. He gasped, unsure, hands hovering before finding my waist. I reached back. Tom joined again, close behind. I arched to meet them both, finding a new rhythm as they moved in sync. Then I reached for Nick, kneeling nearby, watching. I stretched out, he came closer. My fingers wrapped around him, moving slow, deliberate. His breath hitched as he leaned in, kissing my neck, hands grazing my thigh. I wasn't done. I stood, took Nick's hand, guided him to the floor. I straddled him, facing away, settling slow, deliberate. I paused to adjust, then moved. I looked at Tom, beckoned with a glance. He stepped forward, positioning himself carefully, joining our rhythm, one hand on my hip, the other brushing my cheek. I steadied against his chest, rocking between them, Nick below, Tom above, heat climbing with each move. I turned to Luke, still standing watching. "Come here," I said softly. He stepped closer. I reached for him, welcoming him gently while my body kept moving, Nick below, Tom above, Luke trembling in my hand. Luke broke first, breath racing, tension easing. I held him until he finished, then let him go, focusing on Tom. My hands pressed into his chest as the final wave built. Nick gripped tight below, body pressing hard, tension spiking until he surged, breath fast. Tom followed moments later, arms wrapping around me, body pressed close. I followed back, arching, breath-breaking, heat crashing through me. I stayed there, held in Tom's arms, Nick's chest beneath me, Luke's hand nearby, exactly where I wanted. If you were at that table when I walked in, how would you handle it? Would you wait for me to come to you or make a move? Tell me exactly what you'd do. I'll read every comment. If you liked this, hit like, subscribe, and the bell so you never miss what's next. Thanks for watching.